Hey everybody, welcome to On Grade. This is episode 19. I am Brandon Wineline, and I got my co-host, Mr. Devon Boudreau, in studio.
What's going on, guys?
And we have a special guest for you guys tonight. His name is Ryan Killingsworth. How you doing, Ryan?
Good. Glad to be here.
So Ryan is an estimator. He works for an excavation, so just a heavy civil contractor in New Mexico, but he actually lives over here in Texas. So you actually work remote. So tell us a little bit about yourself, though.
Yeah. I work for it's Franklin's Earthmoving in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Like you said, I work remotely for them, and just my background, I tell people I kind of Forrest Gumped my way into being an estimator. I got a college degree in communication. Got out of college in 2008, so right during the recession, no one's hiring. Pretty much degree that couldn't do a whole lot with, so I got a job working retail, bounced around a couple companies, ended up at a company that sold surveying equipment and construction lasers and stuff like that. So I was working there kind of just as a low-level sales guy, worked my way up to outside sales, trying to sell to construction companies. I walked into a contractor. He kind of just started up his company. He was just trying to figure it out. He lost his estimator, and he said, I was showing him some software and a bunch of different solutions we had, and he's like, you want to work for a construction company? And I was kind of at a dead end of that company, so I just kind of went for it, and just kind of on-the-job training, figuring out as I went, getting chewed out for not knowing anything, and I mean, you know how it goes. So.
Drinking from a fire hose.
Exactly. So started doing takeoffs for him, and he saw something in me and started having me do estimates and just working my way up there, and then moved to the company I'm at now and been there for 7 going on 8 years. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, when we were talking before the show, you were saying that your company that you're at now was kind of like mine and Devon's, that they started out as a smaller mom and pop company, and it's grown to the size that it is now.
Yeah. It's I listened to several of your other podcasts, and it seems like you guys really have a passion for people that have just getting started and trying to build something. And really, the company I work for is kind of the end result of that. It's a company that was a mom and pop, started in the 50s, just a guy with a loader, just building small house pads and things like that. And now it's in the Albuquerque area. It's one of the largest civil companies. If they want a job, they can go get it.
That's awesome.
They do grading, they do utilities, concrete, asphalt, and really just I guess it should just be encouraging to all of you guys out there, in the trenches trying to start your company, that if you can really build something that has a legacy. You know,
it's time in, man. Everything starts at the same spot. You got to start somewhere. It's like growing a tree.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy actually around here. There's actually not that many companies that started 40 or 50 years ago around anymore. There's a couple left, but you talk to the old school guys like Robert, he'll name companies off sometimes to me, and I'm like, what company is that? He's like, oh, well, they went out in 78, or they went out in 85. I'm like, dude, I never even heard of that company, but it's crazy. There are a few left around here, but if you go in smaller areas, I notice that those companies seem to last a lot longer. But when you're in a big market like here in DFW, it's so dang cutthroat. It's hard.
Right.
It's hard for the next generation to build that company to where, say, their parents built it or grandparents.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the dynamic in different cities, different areas, different locations.
Right.
How big is Albuquerque? How many people in Albuquerque? It's like
I don't know exactly.
Million,
yeah, and all the surrounding areas. It can't be more than 2 or 3 million.
Yeah. So but there's probably a couple other bigger outfits there too as well.
Oh yeah.
It's like anything. But
right.
How long? So you got into estimating by default and just kind of learned it on the job. What were you doing at the time? Was it all like old school prints and by hand, or were you using software back then? Or
well, that contractor that hired me, he'd lost his estimator and he was using AgTech.
Okay.
He's like, I got this AgTech software. seems like you're pretty good with technology and pretty good with software.
Yeah.
You want to like figure out how to use this? Because I bought this key. I have no idea how to use it. And so he brought me on. Yeah. He brought me on and he's like, here's the training videos and figure it out, So I just kind of dove in with both feet and figured out how to do that. He had this old crotchety estimator that he was supposed to train me, and I couldn't get more than 4 or 5 words out of that guy. So I just bugged the crap out of him, asking him a million questions, and I just bug him until he'd tell me, how to bid a drop inlet or, things like that. And it was definitely an uphill battle learning underneath those guys, but man, I wouldn't change a thing,
No, it's one of those.
So.
It's hard in the time, but it's always the best education, and
For
that's,
sure.
in the long run, it always pays off the most when you got to actually work at it that hard. And it's not easy to do it. That's when you really retain knowledge, I find.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. The best lessons in life are learned by getting your teeth kicked in. Unfortunately, I mean, we've all bid that one job that we thought I didn't miss anything. You get out there and all of a sudden they're like, "Didn't you see on section C of plan AC5?" You're like, "I didn't see that note." And all of a sudden you're on the hook for
Right.
300 or 400 grand worth of work that you didn't even know you had it on the bid, and it's like, oh my god.
I remember one of the first jobs I picked up. That company did some concrete flat work. So concrete flat work's pretty easy to estimate. It's like
Square footage.
measure the curb, measure the sidewalk. And so I was so excited because we got a contract. And I go into the boss, the owner of the company. I'm like, "Hey, we got this job." He's like, "Did you talk to them? Did they call you?" "No, he just said we got it."
Red flag.
I didn't talk to him either. And he's like, "What's on the job? Sidewalk and curb and gutter?" And he's like, "Well, I can't wait to see what you missed." Because I mean, flat concrete, it's like,
Oh yeah.
it's so cheap. It's so cheap because, it's pretty, the material, you can easily figure it out. Like everybody's really dialed in on the cost, and companies that just do that, they don't have a whole lot of overhead. And so, sure enough, I'd missed something in the specs. It was like fiber reinforced concrete or something. So that was a hard pill to swallow, tough lesson.
Well, you've done this too, but like for me, it's when I miss something on an estimator or takeoff, it's like, you hate yourself for it at the same time, but it's like, at least it's my screw up. And yeah, thinking about that on the other side where you're doing it for somebody else, I'd be like, holy.
Yeah, it's always the best when a couple months ago, Pete was really slammed and he's like, "Hey, go on the share drive. There's like 2 jobs I need you to bid." And I'm like, "All right." He's like, "Don't fucking send them until I look them over." And I'm like, all right. So I do them on our bidding software, and he calls me, I don't know, it was like the next day he calls me. He's like, I was out in the field at a meeting or for a pre-con or something, and he's like, "Hey, I'm really glad I looked this over." And I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Yeah, you took that one moisture conditioning number, but you didn't see the other one that I had in there." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "There's 4 pads, bro. You only bid 1 pad." And I'm like, "No shit." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "The bid was like 400 grand less than it should have been." I was like, "Oh." Yeah. So, I mean, I've been doing estimating dirt jobs for 5 or 6 years now. I mean, I still miss stuff. I mean, but I don't do it every day anymore. So it's like
Anything you do.
Yeah, I miss stuff when I'm not. If I'm doing it all day, every day, yeah, I'm way less likely to miss something. But like, I just get the notes they give me, so that we use a little Excel spreadsheet. So, it has everything on it. What we're doing, how much cut fill, all that stuff. So it's like, I'm not going to miss it. And I just didn't see that he had it in another part of the sheet where it said that there was 3 pads or 4 pads instead of 1. So it was just, oh yeah. I mean, honest mistake. Thank God he caught it.
So I've never used AgTech at all personally. How intuitive is it? Like, is it really one of those things that anyone could kind of jump on and learn? Like, how long would you say the learning curve to really to learn that would be?
So like there's two different, there's AgTech for like doing material, utilities and paving.
Yep.
And then there's the grading side. I know they've kind of brought it under one umbrella now, but the utilities and the paving, that's pretty straightforward. You just build your structure list. You can go in and set it up where like it kicks out your materials too. Like if you, let's say on curb and gutter, if you wanted to tell you how many cubic yards you have for a certain type of curb and gutter, you can set that up where it'll kick out that volume of concrete. Like, and you can do a bunch of stuff like that, but just like for simple, if you just want to do a straightforward utility takeoff, a guy could probably be trained up to do that in, a couple months, be proficient.
Yeah.
Earthwork's a different animal, because you've got stripping areas for, your clear and grub. You got sectional areas to show how like if for the paving areas to take it down to subgrade, and then it's just a lot more
layers to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it takes time to know how to get what you want out of the software, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and also if you don't do it right, let's say you put in one wrong elevation, you have a spike,
Throws everything off.
you can be 10,000 cubic yards off.
Oh yeah.
Just like that. So, there's you can get in trouble a lot faster on earthwork, on the grading takeoffs
And that's when you get the phone call you don't want to get. And it's like, hey man, I got your bid and you're 10,000 yards higher than everybody else.
Yes. Yeah.
Because, everybody, rule of thumb on, dirt work is, everybody's multiplying trucking yards, 1.4 to 1.6, So everybody's off on yardage between 1,000 to 1,500 yards difference on every bid. You're going to see a difference. But, it's not going to be 10,000. You might see a plus or minus, like you were just talking about earlier, plus or minus a couple grand, not tens of thousands of yards difference. Everybody's pretty close. Now, I will tell you, the engineers, I don't know what software they use, but my ag tech always proves those guys wrong. Those guys, they will tell you that there's 6,000 yards of cut to fill out there, and you do a takeoff, and there's 26,000 yards of cut to fill out there. And the GC's like, well, the engineering report, the engineer's an idiot. So I don't know if he's using some 2D CAD shit from 1980, but ag tech, it's worth the money. I can't tell you enough. You buy the software, they give you the training. If you buy it, they give you, I think it's 3 hours of training, 4 hours of training, and they do it with you virtually. So you just put a drawing on there, and the guy from AgTech will actually do the takeoff with you, and he'll train you. And then on top of it, if you go to most excavation companies, somebody there has run it before most of the time. Most of your estimators in your estimating department have run it. Like we run AgTech, but we also have Earthworks. We have that other software. It's a little bit cheaper, but I will tell you, we did a comparison on a job one time. We ran both. It was a couple 100 yards difference. It really wasn't much off. So, if you're getting started, something like that wouldn't be bad. Like Earthworks, it's a little cheaper.
Yeah, I don't know. We're seeing it steady. Like technology is really evolving in every industry, but especially, I think the dirt world, you're seeing it a lot more because it's been so old for so long, and now you're really kind of coming into it. For the longest time, it was only really a lot of the bigger companies that were running all the software, and I think GPS has really kind of changed that a lot, modeling and stuff. So you can do modeling and everything through AgTech as well. Is that right? Or yeah. So it's kind of all one-stop shop. One of those things.
Yeah, I know. We've got all the estimators can do earthwork takeoffs, and then because we've got GPS on all the equipment, we have a guy that builds the grading models, which are kind of you can estimate off a grading model, but like a good grading model takes a long time. Estimating just a model, you need to get an estimate. You don't have to get all the curb points perfect. You don't have to get all the slope. You know what I mean? Like I've gone through and done like the perfect grading model takeoff, and it takes a lot of extra time. And the percentage difference in the volume is like 2 or 3%.
Yeah, it's not worth
where
the time.
I could have done, started on the next estimate, so your return on investment isn't huge like getting that far down to the details. But then when they go to build it in the field, they need that model. So we've got a guy that does that. He flies our drone. He does all of that stuff. He's got an engineering background. So he's our surveyor. He's over our surveying department as well. So that's kind of how we have that structured.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the episode, but I'd like to take a minute of your time to talk to you about today's sponsor. Are you a GIS professional, land surveyor, or construction professional looking for the best in surveying equipment, software, and service? Look no further than AGS Inc. AGS Inc. is an authorized dealer for Topcon and Sokia surveying equipment dealer and EOS aerial mapping products dealer. With a supply store in Grapevine, Texas to serve the DFW Metroplex, Central Texas presence, and a corporate headquarters in Houston, Texas, AGS has you covered. Stop by and experience the AGS Inc. difference today. At AGS, it is a service after the sale that counts. AGS is the proud sponsor of the On Grade podcast. On Grade podcast listeners, give these guys a call if you want to talk about bringing precision surveying, layout, drones, GPS, GIS, or 3D scanning spatial technologies to your company. Thank you, and have a great evening. Back to the episode.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess the biggest thing, a lot of guys that listen to this are smaller outfits, 1, 2, 3, 5 guys, small. They're not probably necessarily going to be going out and doing large scale projects majority of the time and stuff. What are tips and tricks, I guess you would say, for estimating when you're looking at smaller stuff for smaller scale companies or guys that are kind of starting out in it? What's some stuff that, I guess you always really run the software more than anything, but.
Well, I do the estimates too. So I know I've been listening to your podcast. A lot of what you talked about is, when you're bidding, let's say you're bidding to a GC, and really who you're bidding against is that low bid idiot in town that is going to bid way below everybody else. That's who you're really up against, So something that I've done on my estimates that I always do, I got to think like that guy. He's going to leave out everything that isn't explicitly in the plans, all that gray area stuff. On utilities, something that comes to mind is like roof drain connections. I mean, those are a huge pain in the butt. Mm-hmm. You're always remobilizing for them. If it's a big commercial job, you put in your utilities up to 5 foot from the building, and then you got to leave. And then they put up the building. He's got that superintendent's has cranes around it. He's got scaffolding in your way. He's like,
all the material.
Hey, yeah, you can come back and put in the roof drains on the east side of the building, but that's it. That's all I got room for. You got to come back later and do the rest of it.
3 more times.
Like 4 more mobilizations. And so what I do is I don't put that in my base bid. I'm going to put that in an alternate at the bottom. Now, I've learned in the past I've excluded it. Well, these GCs, they get my bid. They're not looking at what I've written. They're looking at the numbers. They're not going to read all my exclusions. Even if I highlight it and have it bold, they'll miss it.
Yeah.
But if I put it as an alternate at the bottom with a big ass number on it, like this is my price to come back and do your roof drains with 7 mobilizations in it, then they're going to call me. Then I can have that conversation with them. Then I can really I can build their trust.
You're educating the customer at that point.
Exactly. We can talk about, and why is it so expensive to do these roof drains? Because I know you're going to have a crane in my way, and then we can talk about dirt. How did you see moving this dirt? Oh, well, I think I'm going to need to stockpile the, when I over excavator, I get ready to moisture condition the pad. I'm hoping to put it over here. Does that work for you? No, we can't put it there. Okay, well, I'm probably gonna have to double handle a lot of it or something like that.
Right.
So all those conversations build trust, right? And hopefully by doing that, when he gets that low bid, he's gonna throw it out. Because
he's already had that conversation, and if he didn't think of all those things, you highlight them.
Exactly.
Now all of a sudden, he's like, okay, this guy's gonna get this done. This guy's gonna be a headache.
Yeah, and hopefully in talking with him, I can say, my goal on this project is that after the contract is signed, you don't talk to me again, I don't talk to you again, unless there's a design change.
Yeah.
Because neither of us have time for that. You're great, but I want you guys to go build this job, and we don't have to have another conversation. That's my hope.
Yeah.
You know, whereas that other guy, that low bidder, you're going to be talking to him all the time and fighting with him, you know.
So 36 change orders. And I
Sometimes.
mean, change orders are good sometimes because you're making money on them. But at the same time, it just wreaks havoc on your schedule. And when you're stacked, it's just like I'm dealing with that now. Up at TI, we're working, like there's so many design changes. It's daily, literally daily. And it's like, how many change orders do you want to write a day? Because that's really what it comes down to. And then you can't even plan. You can't schedule. You can't book other stuff in because you don't know when you're going to end. It's just never ending.
And then it passes along to your next job that you already got contracted, and you say to the client, and it's like, hey, the reason I can't mobilize to your job is I just got a change order. So then they go, oh God, this guy looks for change orders. And it's like, no, this is a legitimate change order. Like they added scope to our work. So I had to ask for a change order. But caveat what you were just talking about with mobilization, something for these new guys that I'd like to hit on real quick with mobilizations, especially in earthwork. Earthwork, you should only have 2 mobilizations. You should have your initial mob of come in, mass grade the damn thing, get everything the closest as you can to grade so Devon can come in there and tear it up and leave piles of dirt everywhere. And then when you come back, you should blue top, do your lime, and set all your dirt behind the forms while the guys are there still. And then that way the concrete guy can just spread the dirt out that's behind the curbs for the backfill of the curbs. In theory, that's how it should work. Never happens. We know this. So I am on a job that I have remobilized to 9 times. And I always put in my contract that I'm only going to come back twice. And I realized something that I was talking to my estimating team last week, and I says, hey, I don't think we're charging enough on our remobilizations. It's not incentivizing them enough to stop asking us to come back. So because the number we were using when most people would be like, oh, no, we'll get you in 2. We don't want to pay that for you to come back. And this guy was just paying it every time, man. And my guys are calling me like, guys, like, I get it. This is money, but we can't go finish the other work we got coming up. Or we got new jobs starting where we could be using this machine to bill way more money. Like, we need to talk about increasing our remote fees. So we just raised them, and we sent it in 2 or 3 bids since we raised it. And 2 of the 3 of our clients that we've used over the years are like, you guys increased your price a little bit, I see, on some things. We're like, yeah. And they're like, what's that about? I'm like, well, trying to get it so we got some machines freed up so we're not constantly going back and doing work 7 times.
Well, it's a nightmare. It's a pain in the neck.
Oh, yeah.
You can't schedule and you can't plan for it.
No.
Right. And as for earthwork contractors, I know we can make money off change orders, but I feel like we never get all of it because when you have iron on a job, our daily cost is higher by a huge margin than any other subcontractor.
Yep.
And every minute that they're sitting there,
you're not making anything.
they could be on another job making money.
Yep.
So you have that lost time, which kind of goes unaccounted for in a change order, you know, and then
The day or 2 days it takes to approve it, it's sitting doing nothing.
Exactly. And then there's a global impact on all your other jobs because I'm sure, I mean, when you've got that iron, it's going straight off that job to the next job. And so every minute that it's there, it's hurting that job and it's hurting your relationship on the next job. And then that's hurting the next job. So,
or you do like me and you mow the same piece 2-3 times in the same day to different sites to.
Yeah, that's pretty gangster, actually.
yeah.
Mow about on a Friday, work Saturday, Sunday, mow back in Monday morning.
Yeah, well, I saw you over there helping me out on that rock wall job. I actually got him to help me out. He can tell you, I called him. I says last week, I said, hey, bro, this is a great client of mine. I do a lot of their work. I can't get to it. Can you go in and do it for me? He said, yeah, just send me their info. I sent him over the info, and he can tell you the client was super happy that they're like, hey, thank you for telling us you can't get here, and thank you for lining us up with him. But that's because I trust him. Like, I'm not going to call every dirt contractor I know in town and be like, hey, can you come take care of this for me? You know, like, you don't do that. But, like, if you got people you work with, yeah. But that's my point, what we're just talking about. I couldn't even get back to them with a skid steer because all mine are so tied up on change order work or delays, and I mean, it's crazy right now.
Right.
I don't know. I think to your point, it making the MOB charges more expensive, it's going to help, or hopefully would help, incentivize the GC to plan a little better too, and to start clarifying things. Because like I think a lot of this gets rushed. They get plans, they get a bid, they don't know necessarily, they rush into it. Everyone shows up to site, and then there's 17 things before you that should have been looked at months ago on the plans that never got caught, or people bid it and don't highlight it, and then it becomes a problem on the job, and then the trickle down effect is ridiculous. But yeah, it's kind of the whole industry is backwards. Really, a lot of stuff is done. It really is funny. But what do you see like with technology? We're at this point now. What do you see in 5-10 years? What point do you think we're going to be at with the way stuff is done?
I think a big thing, and it's becoming more affordable. It seems like every day, is the drones.
Yeah.
I know you're saying, a lot of the guys that listen to this are smaller outfits. Well, that drone technology is becoming more in reach for them. Mm-hmm. And just kind of, I don't work for anybody that sells drones, so this is completely, you can take my word for it. It's a game changer when it comes to like larger earthwork projects. Cause like, you're talking about that job you had where you had to haul out dirt and then turn it around and haul it back in. Well, we had one like that. So we hauled all the dirt out, and then there's same thing, designer vision, got to turn around and haul it back in. And you guys have probably had this where you're arguing a change order with a general contractor, and you're getting that deer in the headlights look. Like they just completely don't understand how it impacted you. They're just like, because they don't trust any subs, they're just like, you're just trying to, you're just trying to take advantage of me.
Yeah.
Well, if you've got that, in this case, we had the drone flight from when we started. So we got that topo. And then when they stopped work because the change came, we took another drone flight. So I could hand him, here is the cut fill map with the volume. This is how much we moved when you told us to stop because the design was changing. Then I could take that design and compare it, or take that from where we stopped and compare it to the new design. Say, this is what we have to move to finish. Add those two numbers together, subtract our original quantity, that's your change order. There's no arguing with that, really.
Yeah, it makes it very cut and dry.
So, and then on top of that, you got the aerial photography that a lot of these drones do, which is just like this great record that they just can't argue with, So I don't know. I think that's really gonna change the game a lot. Plus you really know where you're at. True. Whereas the foreman might tell you, oh, we're like 25% from being finished. Well, you do the drone topo and compare it to the design. Wow, we're like 50% finished,
Yeah.
So that really helps you with scheduling. It helps you
Billing.
with billing. Exactly. That's a backup that you can attach to your billing. So things like that. And the technology's come a long way.
I will tell you, it's same situation. It's unbelievable when you were saying the deer in the headlights thing. To me, that makes no sense. It's earthwork contractors have a very hard time justifying any kind of change order because to them it's just dirt. They're like, hey, it's just the dirt. Like, this doesn't cost that much to move around. Well, it does. It has a lot of cost because I had to put it on a truck, had to take it to another job site, had to pay to dump the stuff. Might have paid a dump fee depending on where I took it. I had to pay the guy that loaded it. I had to pay for the machine that put it in the truck. I'd pay for the fuel. I'd pay for the overhead that was running that job. So to them, they don't get that. And an example for guys that aren't dirt contractors that might be listening to the show, it'd be like being a utility contractor. You put 300 linear foot of pipe in, and they change it and say, oh, we only need 150 feet. Doesn't matter that you've installed 300 feet. You were going to get paid to take that 150 foot out of the ground. I don't know a utility contractor that wouldn't get paid to do that. That's the same concept, though. I mean, it really is. You just hauled 10,000 yards out of this job, and I'm in the fight right now, like you're talking about. they need dirt for the grade beams. I took the dirt off the job site that I was supposed to take off per plant. Now they're telling me that the engineer came out and looked at the job, and they said, hey, we can't use this material on the outside of the grade beam, but we can on the inside. Don't ask me why this guy said that, but that's what he said. So we're not, whatever, dude, we'll do what you want. So I send to the GC an email today. He says, hey, can you bring me a couple test samples from other jobs you got of dirt so I can make sure it's in meets the PI? I said, no problem. So I sent him over, and I call the project manager for the job is on vacation this week. So I'm dealing with the vice president of the company right now. So, that's fun because that's the money guy. So he's going to fight you tooth and nail about everything. So I tell him, I'm like, hey, I need to get paid for 1,200 yards of dirt. And he's like, well, you hauled it off. You should be responsible to bring it back. No, you did a design change after I started the job. That's not my problem. You're going to pay me to bring this dirt back. And so, of course, this was a 30-minute argument in emails that was unnecessary for everybody. It's still not resolved. So tomorrow, when they don't have any dirt tomorrow, they'll figure it out that I'm not bluffing. So it's just unfortunate that you have to be this way. But, I mean, this is what example, guys, of when you're bidding jobs, you got to make sure you're dotting your I's and crossing them T's, man, because if you don't, this is the kind of stuff that you can run into.
Well, and don't be scared to stand your ground on it too. But I really like that idea. But going back to what you're saying with the estimates takeoffs and adding that in there, because that's how many times do I look at a set of prints or the job and I'm looking at it and I realize like they missed this, they're going to have that, that's going to be a problem, this could be that. They don't know that stuff. And I do that a lot. I'll highlight that to people. I'll pick up the phone, call them, email them. Hey, what about this? What do you do with this? What about this? Same thing. We just bid that job down south. Bunch of stuff missing. And then also I look at the job and I was like, well, we can do this differently. One, it's going to be way less headache for me, but two, it's going to save them a couple $100,000 in this project. And you open that dialogue up and it instantly just builds that trust with them. And that's the ultimate goal. And I find that's a harder thing to do in the commercial space versus the residential space. In the residential space, you're dealing with the homeowner typically, and you're having that easy dialogue. Where on the commercial side, you're dealing with maybe a whole estimating department or a PM or a superintendent and stuff. And it's hard to necessarily build that relationship or that trust, so to speak, when you're just submitting a bid.
Right.
And that's definitely a big tip that I'm going to take out of that, and everybody really should.
Yeah, and I really would, rather than highlighting it and just, I swear I've done that. I've had it in red, highlighted, flashing on the estimate. Since it's not a dollar amount, they'll ignore it. If it's got a dollar amount attached to it, they'll see it.
Yeah.
Because in their defense, a lot of these GCs, they're probably getting 10 bids on bid day. They're not looking at letters, they're looking at numbers.
Yeah.
So if you can do it as an alternate, if you can get away with that, that's the way I like to do it. And this might even be the better part about it. If they don't pick it up, and then 6 months down the road, you're PM or if you're the PM, or if you hand it off to a PM and he's calling you because the superintendent's yelling at him because this isn't in the job or this is in your contract and you need to come do this, you can pull up that estimate and say, look,
right here,
I gave it to you as an alternate and you didn't pick it up. It's a paper trail, which some of the best advice I got from an old crotchety estimator was, if it's not written down, it didn't happen. That conversation that you had with that GC, with that you're bidding to over the phone, it didn't happen. Once, it's not binding. What's in the contract is
what's binding.
Exactly. And so you need to have an email train. You need to have, just like you were saying, cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure there is no gray area with your scope of work.
Make sure if you ever have to imagine this is what I tell my guys every time when they're typing an email to a client. I say, imagine a lawyer's reading it in front of a judge, because you never know. It could be your best client. You don't know. At the end of the day, it's unfortunate nowadays, like we talked about before. 20 years ago, we didn't have to do any of this crap. Nowadays, you have to. It's unfortunate. It's just how people are. Something I want to add to what you were just stating, though. Something that we do that I recommend everybody when they're starting out if you are in a position where you have project managers, you have superintendents, you have foremans, but you're just in that starting phase of having those people in place, build field files for your jobs. To this day, we have tablets now. My guys run tablets. But to this day, me and Trevor will literally, the day before our ops meeting, any jobs we got awarded that week, the contract's in there. We have a cut fill sheet. We have the scope. That's our scope sheet that we build. We have a copy of the geotech report in there. We have a copy of the contract. We have a copy of our proposal. We have a copy of all the contacts for the job. We have what trucking company we're going to use. We have everything in there. So when the guy tries to tell my guys, hey, it's in your contract, my guys don't have to call us and go, hey, can you look through our contract to make sure this is in our scope? No. They can go to their pickup, open their folder up, open to the page of the scope sheet, walk back to the GC and go, that's funny because it's not in here.
It's true.
Absolutely.
That right there will save you so much. That $50 you spend in paper and ink a month for doing that is going to save you so much money. You guys will not believe it. I mean, it's the truth, though. It's little things like that that'll help you succeed in this industry.
Yeah, it's paper trail. Paperwork.
Yeah, and then there's the efficiency factor too. I mean, if you're doing estimates, I mean, you don't want to be getting calls about an estimate you did 6 months ago that you can't even remember. Hey, did you pick this up?
Do you guys put all y'all's on a server?
We do put everything on a server, and then I know we spoke about it before, but we use Procore too, which is really helpful.
I will tell you, Procore is great for the plans like you were talking about. I can say this as a guy that has to use it for billing. It is an absolute freaking nightmare trying to get it to work because they have to invite you to bill.
Right.
So if the PM forgets to invite you, you might be the 22nd, 23rd of the month. They want their billing on the 25th. You still got to go over quantities with your guys. And you got to make sure you're covering everything. And they're calling you and they're like, well, we'll send you the invite on the 25th. No, dude, I need it today so I can start going over everything with the guys. And it's just, and then on top of it, you got to download it to send it to the accounting department so they can put it in their tracker. So they have an AIA form so they can actually see what the hell we're actually billing per line item so they can put it in the accounting software. It's just a nightmare on that side. On what you're talking about PM wise, it's great.
Yeah, I don't care for it as interfacing it with it as a sub with somebody else and I'm the sub.
Yeah.
But when it's your job and you're managing plans, especially plans, because it gives you a record. You put the plan sheet in there. It says, this is when the plan sheet date, this is when I received it. And then this is the revision number. And you can keep everything organized that way. On that big project we were talking about with all those water line changes before we came on, there were 23 revisions on one plan. 23 revisions. So, I mean, imagine trying to keep track of that, even on a network.
I did a parking lot 2 years ago that had 27 changes for a car dealership. And we caught all but 3 because they switched to Procore and they didn't send us the invite. So we get out there and my guys are blue topping for the last time finally. And the guy's like, these grades are wrong. And we're like, the hell they are. We're going off the latest plans. He's like, oh, well, there's new ones. They're dated da-da-da-da-da. So, of course, I had to go back and try and fight that fight. And they're like, well, they were sent to you. I says, really? Because I don't have an invite for them. And that's the only time I had a problem with Procore because they did not come to us. And I had to prove it. And I did finally prove it. But I mean, that was 2 weeks of having to fight with them to get it done, to even get paid to do the work. It was just ridiculous. Yeah. That was my only gripe. Sorry.
Right.
Regardless of what you use, though, you need it. It's for sure.
Now
you can't document enough stuff.
Something I want to do that we're talking pretty technical right now, and you were talking about you wanting to help some guys, and we want to help some people. Can you help guys figuring hourly rates? We brushed on it before, but could you possibly talk about hourly rates? How you guys calculate them, stuff like that. No, don't give away trade secrets here.
Right.
Just think the basics here to help some guys.
Yeah, I mean it's there's no secret to it really. And I'll tell you, I know you guys have talked about this. Seems like every other episode talking about hourly rates and
People ask all the time.
right.
It's important though.
Yeah, I mean, really, I mean, to be honest, the big guys do it the same way, you know, that you guys have gone over. They just, a lot of the rates, even if on equipment that is owned, it's based on the rental rate.
Yeah.
Because
You don't know what piece is going to that job.
exactly, you know, if I go and bid a job with a scraper crew that we own, and that crew isn't available, you know, because the job gets delayed or whatever, or they're going to a job where that better suits them, or who knows. Well, then we're paying rental, just like everybody else.
Yep.
You know, so really, we just established that rental rate. Like you guys have talked about before, we kind of we don't put in the exact hourly rate that they've got. You kind of got to figure out how many productive hours you're going to get out of it.
Yep.
So you're covered for downtime and you know, with scrapers, if you got 4 scrapers out there, one's always going to be broken down.
Yeah,
So,
we always
you know.
we always bid like roughly 68 to 70% utilization rate, but we
Right.
shoot to do 85.
Right.
And that's the key. If you can figure that out, which me and Devin have a cheat sheet that we both have. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. If you guys would like, shoot me an email. It's ongrade88@gmail.com.
It's official.
It's official. It's the official. And I might be nice and send you the Excel sheet. This is also based off Texas. So there is no sales tax in there and all this other crap because we don't have to pay that. So it's just to help you get a ballpark idea, though, guys, of what stuff costs, how we figure it, and stuff like that. So if you guys want to shoot us an email, we'll be more than happy to send that over to you.
I guess we can dumb it down a little more because I know when I started, I was lost in that whole thing. So there's probably guys that too. So when we're talking about utilization, you look at your rental rates on your piece of equipment. If you're going to pay, you know, say it's $2,000 for 40 hours of use, you're not going to divide that over 40 hours because you're not going to get 40 hours of use on that piece in the time. You're going to go at the 70% or whatever number you pick, and you're going to basically be dividing that over 70% of 40 hours to get your rate, and then you're going to use that number when you're going. And it can be 70, 68, 80, whatever you think it's going to be, but industry standards around 70, if I believe, pretty well.
Yeah, you shoot to hit 85, but you don't ever bid 85. You bid 65 to 70. That's a good ballpark to do. Now, you can tell a guy's brand new at it when he's bidding because he's bidding 100% utilization. He's 25 grand cheaper than everybody else. Right. You're like, dang, dude, what's your hourly rates? Like 105 an hour for a 470 excavator? Yeah. That's something that's really important to me. I think for a lot of guys, because I've had guys reach out to us on Spotify and stuff saying that they want to hear more about estimating because it is kind of hard to talk about on a podcast. But I mean, if we can just give the basics to them, you know what I mean? Like, hey guys, you know, you're taking what that monthly rate is, like Devin was saying. Now, I got to remember on rentals, usually when you're paying for a month, they're basing that on a 40-hour work week at 3 weeks, not 4 weeks. They do it at 3 weeks. So then you got to add that in too. So you got to be 70% of the machine being charged for 3 weeks at 40 hours. So you're only allotted 120 hours with a rental. A lot of people don't realize that. So actually, if you go,
Depends.
Yeah.
Check with your rental place because
Yeah.
everyone are different. I've had 178 in a month, 160,
Yeah.
140.
If you got that, just know that you might pay a little more at the end of the job if you got to run it longer than that. So just remember that, you know.
We all work 40-hour work weeks anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're all amateurs around here. Yeah. This is union work.
Yeah. Clock out at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Go to the golf course.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of us make TikToks with Star Wars intros like I did today, but, you know.
Hey.
Did you see my Star Wars video I made?
No, I was doing this thing called work, and I didn't have time for that.
I actually had a little downtime today, so I made one about becoming a foreman. It's pretty gangster. It's like Darth Vader, the Darth Vader song. I'll send it to you later. It's pretty gangster. Oh, by the way, it's on our TikTok if y'all want to check it out. So I'm just saying it's on Grace's TikTok.
So what are your career goals or aspirations, I guess, at this point in the game, where you're at right now? Like, what's your what's the natural progression, I guess, of an estimator really? Like where do guys start in estimating and then they go up from there into other things, or like, well, how does that typically, what's the usual progression of an estimator? Would you say?
I mean, usually, you can transition to project management. I have done that, and I usually end up sliding back over into estimating just because it fits my skill set a little better, I think. So
I don't think you can be a really good project manager. This is my personal opinion on it. I've worked for several excavation companies over the years. I personally believe you shouldn't be a PM unless you got field time and
Right.
you've been an estimator. I really think you need to be out in the field as a foreman or superintendent.
Right.
Then go in the office, become an estimator. And once you're there, you go be a PM. That's my personal opinion on it, because you need to know what shit costs. You need to know what production is. You need to know what you can actually do out in the field, because everything looks great on paper
Right.
until you're actually out doing it. But the problem is nobody wants to pay what it actually costs to do the job, like we just talked about earlier on the show.
Right.
If we actually could charge what we were supposed to charge, yeah, you don't even want to know what a $300,000 job would really be. It'd be close to $1 million. I mean, it's just we
Right.
don't. In dirt business, you don't charge enough. It's just unfortunate that let's talk about it. In the last 10 years, how much has bids gone up, would you say? I'd say maybe 15% tops.
Yeah, I mean the last couple of years have been pretty.
Yeah, pretty steady now. But
Yeah.
before that, before 20, dude, they didn't go up but 10,
No.
15% over 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew Robert, no bullshit, guys. Robert comes into our ops meeting a couple weeks ago and we were talking about a change order. And I told him what the amount was for the amount of work. And he just looked at me. He goes, "We charged that in 1993. And I went, "Are you kidding me?" He goes, "Yeah, but they're stuck in the 90s. They will not come up on the price at all."
I did a job at a house actually for an older gentleman back in Canada before I came down. And he was third generation. Large earth moving company, one of the biggest ones at the time. It was one of the biggest ones in Western Canada, like huge coal mining, like massive. And we got talking for hours about stuff. The guy was kind of a cool old guy. He used to collect. He had steam locomotives and every piece of equipment since the beginning of time at his house that he'd been collecting and restoring and stuff. Really cool guy, a lot of knowledge. But we were talking, and he was telling me that in '85 they were charging more to move a cubic yard of dirt than they are today.
Yeah.
And obviously equipment and technology has improved in efficiencies and stuff, but he was literally like, they were like 30% in difference of price over 30 some years. And it's crazy, but
What did diesel cost in 1985?
2 cents
What
a
a
gallon.
tractor costs in 1985.
Yeah, that's wild.
I mean, you could buy a
Wow.
D8. You could buy a D8 for $100,000 in the 80s.
Probably
You're
less.
paying close to $1 million now for a D8. I mean, it's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you
Wow.
know, I know that we're kind of getting off topic with that, but it still matters. I mean, it's still part of the estimate. The problem we're good is we're shooting ourselves in the foot, like we talked about on the last episode, where we're not all on the same page, and no matter what, 10 of us could be on the same page. There's still going to be 2 guys that are,
Right.
I'm going to low cut everybody. I'm going to get all the work in town, and then 2 years later, you're going to hear about me going out of business because all my tractors are at Ritchie Brothers.
Or they're new and they don't know.
Right.
And they're just charging wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of look at things, and I look at, technology, how it's coming, heavy bid, ag tech, GPS, the drone technology. Personally, I think it's going to get to a point where you're literally just going to have GCs that are going to do all that on their own and say, "Here, come to this job for this price. This is what it's going to be." Or they're going to do it themselves, and basically it's just going to standardize the industry in a sense. But I don't know.
I don't know why, but I've been hearing this for the last few years, and it's a model that a lot of the home builders are doing now. They are going internal when they're building stuff now, like Balfour Beatty and stuff. They don't hire GCs anymore to build their shit. They do it themselves because they're finding if I can cut that middleman out, I'm going to get better subs. I'm going to get the job done faster, and they pay you on time. And so there's more incentive, and they pay a little bit more. And I mean, public work, you're always going to have the big excavation contractors and big highway guys doing that work because that stuff's got to get done. And TxDOT subs you directly. So I mean, or whatever state you're in, but those kind of jobs I think will always be, like you're talking about just a second ago. I think those will always be still done sub straight to the owner kind of jobs. Whereas I think a lot of this commercial work eventually, I think these developers are going to get to the point where they're like, this job's cost me $8 million, but how much of it actually is cost? And they're going to take the software like you're talking about, and they're going to do the math on it and go, well, I'm paying this GC $400,000 to do dirt work, but the dirt contractor's only charging me $250,000. And then they might split it with you. They might say, hey, I'll give you give me $300 for the job. And they just saved themselves $100,000. They're not dealing with a middleman anymore. I mean, I've seen it. I mean, there's a couple guys out there I've talked to that are developers that are like, I'm not using GCs anymore because they don't pay people. 9 times out of 10, they cause more headaches than they do help. And, you know, they're making more money. These developers are making more money if they just cut the middleman out. Honestly, that's all they are, freaking middlemen.
Middle managers.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's the same. So in Canada, they had like the Alberta Road Builders rates. So you had a rate book, and basically this is what you're allowed to charge rate-wise on public work projects and stuff. So you're really just bidding on time is what you're doing at that point, because the rates are all standardized at that point. Yeah,
so what's really cool about you were just talking about standardizing stuff. So like if you do any kind of textile work, they actually send you a thing for heavy job and heavy bid, and it actually sends you the quantities. They've already done the takeoff. Now you'll do your own takeoff to verify all this stuff, but they'll have a takeoff done, and it plugs automatically in your estimating software. All you do is adjust your rates, and it's already done. Now, of course, everybody's going to verify that. But if you do any kind of residential work, like these guys are going in mass the bench lots and stuff, I've gotten those bids 100 times. They send you an Excel spreadsheet that already has 50 lots to bench, how many square foot of blue topping, how many yards of cut fill, how many yards of stockpile, how many tons of lime, how much linear foot of storm you're putting in, how much. It's already done. Of course, you verify it. Now, I'll be honest with you, half the time they're wrong on the cubic yards. Now, I will say on the utility bids, they're pretty spot on utility bids.
Right.
But the concrete utility, they're pretty spot on. The dirt's always off. I don't know why, but the dirt is always off. It's off substantially.
Right.
It's not like, a couple thousand yards. No, it's 10, 15, 20,000 yards sometimes on these jobs. And then you call them and they're like, oh, well, this guy said he's going to honor those yardages. And I'm like, have fun.
I just chalk that up to engineers, not, they don't really draw those 3D models anymore.
No.
It's all auto generated. And then it's my opinion, they don't really look at those models a whole lot. Not like a grading contractor would. We're going to look at the job and be like, how are we going to build this? Does this make sense? Does that slope make sense?
They make water drain uphill now. You didn't know that?
Right. So I just chalk that up to, they don't even look at the model. It just spits out a volume and here's your bid quantity, So yeah, but that's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, I think I actually had to call an engineer this week about a grading plan, and because I called the GEC, I sent an RFI like you were just doing right before you came here, and nobody got back to me. So I was like, it's been a week. It's not that hard to answer a question. So I called the engineer, and he picked up the phone, and I talked to him for a few minutes, and he goes, dude, I didn't even get this RFI yet from the GC. And I'm like, dude, they have a PM that's running this job, and that's like his whole job in life is to do this stuff. And he hadn't even called you. He said, no. He said, send me the plan. So I sent him the plan, and he looks at it, and he realized it was one of his apprentices that did the drawing and slipped it on his desk, and he put a stamp on it. He stamped it. The kid stamped this drawing. He didn't even look at this drawing. He didn't even know this drawing existed. So that's another thing, because in Texas, I don't know how it is in other states, you have to work for an engineer after you get your civil engineering degree for a minimum of 3 years before you get your license, because you got to go test down in Austin to get your stamp. Sometimes these kids draw this shit up, and the engineer goes, hey, if you're done with it, just come in here, get it stamped, and send it in. So, you might have a kid that just got out of college drawing this stuff, and no one's looking it over. That's the other thing that's happening. That's why a lot of these grading plans now, and you were talking about it last week with the utility plans, a lot of them are jacked up right now because of that stuff.
You get one set of plans, and it's awesome. Everything's called out there. It's perfect. And you get another set of plans, and it's like, what the hell is this, right?
Right.
Yeah, but it happens, and that's the thing. That's where it comes down to. You have to really pay attention to everything, read every note, go through everything, and really go through it all. But how did you end up in Texas?
So I was born and raised in New Mexico. So was my wife. We got a couple of young kids, a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. And we just kind of wanted more opportunities for them. You know, a lot of people that grow up in New Mexico, they just stay there. It's hard to get out. So we kind of wanted to give our kids the opportunity to get out if they wanted to. Obviously, they can go back if they want to. Still got a lot of family there. So it was just really about giving the kids a better opportunity. You know, a big area like DFW, big metroplex. Anything they want to do, they can do.
Yeah.
Anything they want to pursue, they can pursue it. Any career, you know.
That's
so it was
awesome.
really about that, just setting them up for success in the future. And, you know, I wanted to kind of branch out and try some different things. So, yeah, that was really what drove that.
How did you like the transition from office to working remotely? Like how was that?
Well, today it wasn't great because my kids started piano, and earlier this week, I'm not going to buy them a real piano, not until they like have proven that they're going to practice and, you know, be dedicated. So I got this piano from a lady on Facebook Marketplace.
Yes.
It was a $30 little kid's piano, and she'd obviously had it sitting in the front yard. So the speakers sound awful. The kids start plinking on this thing today. I'm like, this was a mistake.
Headset.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So working from home, it's great. You know, I've got young kids. They're homeschooled. They're only this little for so long. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it forever, but for this time period, you know,
That's cool.
it's working out pretty well.
Do you miss the office? Like, do you miss the going into work kind of thing?
Oh,
or
I definitely do miss the camaraderie.
social
you know,
aspect,
and, yeah, and you know, there are challenges working remotely. You know, I can't just go do a site visit, you know, on a job that I'm involved in. I got to wait till I do my monthly visit to the main office to do that. But, you know, there's give and take.
Yeah.
For sure.
So do you go out there for a few days when you do go out, or how do you do it?
Yeah, I go out once a month for 3 days,
Nice.
do site visits, do meetings, all that good stuff.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's a good setup.
You know, it's really cool. My buddy owns an excavation company here, and his estimator is actually up in Colorado, and he does that. He'll come down here like for 3 or 4 days during the month, and he does it like that. It's pretty cool.
COVID just opened up all kinds of doors for opportunity like that. It's funny how much has actually gone away, and people have working remotely since then. And I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. I'd probably go nuts. But I think there's definitely benefits to it though. And like you were saying, having kids at home, being able to be around and stuff, that's definitely a huge part of it.
Right.
Where you don't get that when you're commuting to work every day and long days in the office.
Right.
You can take a 20-minute break and go hang out with the kids and get back to what you're doing. It's not a big deal.
Right.
I did like one of your questions you wanted to ask us. I'm going to read it to you. The one you said, how do you choose the correct equipment for grading projects? That's something we'd never actually have talked about before.
Yeah. So just to preface that, you know, I've been estimating for 9, almost 10 years, and I almost never have the equipment right when I go and do the review with the president of the company.
Really?
I have tried to get in his headspace, and normally, like, I know it's a scraper job,
Right.
or I know it's a loader job, or, you know, even if it's material where we got to use an excavator and trucks or that kind of thing, I can see that, but I never get like the number of scrapers right. I never know how many blades is he going to want in there. Like, what dozer does he want, you know, to finish the slopes? What, you know, that kind of thing. So
you mind if I take this one?
Yeah, go for it. It's
So,
your wheelhouse.
on this one, I can kind of answer it to a point because I'm not nearly the scale you are. But so I'm running right now. I've got 5 rentals and I've got 12 of my own machines. So I'm running like roughly about 17 machines right now. So I have 4 dozers right now, 4 excavators. I think we got 2 off-roads on rent. We got 2 water trucks on rent, 2 rollers. So what we do is normally if we're on a big job, the way I do it is I'll go, okay, if we're moving, we got cut fills, say we got 90, 60, 90, 100,000 yards of dirt. If we can't get scrapers, because right now they're hard as hell to find, we'll convert it to, we're going to run trucks and we're going to run one big ass hoe. So we'll put 4 trucks. I try to do 4 trucks to an excavator. So if you're bidding if you're trying to get 8 to 10, what do you try to shoot for on your production normally when you do with the trucks? What do you do normally?
I'll be honest, we don't bid trucks a whole lot.
Yeah.
Just the material down there, or it's sandy.
Yeah, you just pan it all day, man.
Yeah.
See, out here you got to have a paddle wheel, and then you can run pans, but you got to have a paddle wheel to start the cut. So that's the problem. So you go out west towards Decatur and stuff, you can get away with just running pans. But the way I do it is I'll normally go, okay, I'm going to have four 45-ton trucks on one excavator, so I'll bid like my 350 or my 360 Komatsu, and that bucket's 4.5 yard bucket, so I figure loading time 1 minute a truck. So I think we figure, depending on how far we got to go, if it's under 200 yards, I think we figure like 5,000 to 6,000 a day, roughly. If it's a little over that, we just drop it by each distance we got to go. If it's close, shit, we bump it, man. We'll go to like 8,000. If it's, 50, 60 yards, they're just going right across the street or something like that. Yeah, dude, we'll blow through it, Another thing, too, with moisture conditioning, which nobody knows how to bid moisture conditioning correctly. I don't know anybody that does. I've heard so many different people tell me, they're like, man, 1,200 yards. Well, you're at $5 a yard. Nobody wants to pay that for moisture conditioning. Oh, you should be at 1,800. You find a crew that can do 1,800 yards with one excavator and a dozer and do 1,800 yards of moisture conditioning a day. Yeah, I'll buy you a beer because there ain't many guys that can do it. You better have an 8 out there with a 349. That's about the only way you're going to do it with nonstop water. I mean, and the lab guy is like right there, and he's standing there going in the trench every 5 minutes checking it, because that never happens. As well as I do, when you're testing lifts, it's 30 minutes every time. He's going to walk his happy ass on down there, take his sweet old time. He's going to sit there, pull his pants up, beat the hammer. Oh, looks good. I'll put a little more water on it. Okay. Put a little more water on it is good. I mean, so that's the thing. Like, there's so many variables in estimating in dirt. In pipe, it's not easier, but okay, if I'm in this type of material, I can get through it. I can do 700 linear foot a day of poly. If I'm doing storm, whatever it is, whatever size you're using. I don't know pipe like you do, but I'm just saying, like, it's just examples. Like, y'all's is a little easier to kind of judge, whereas us, you got so many fucking variables. You got to deal with the lab. You got to deal with, is the haul road going to be smooth so the trucks can haul ass? Is the GC going to bitch because my guys are driving too fast out there? Like, it's just so many variables in dirt estimating. And that's why I tell everybody in dirt work, it's not precision, it's estimating, because you're never going to get it completely right.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I build production rates. So like I look at it, okay, what's the depth of the cut? What are we digging in? If I run this machine, I'm going to get this many feet a day, this machine, this many feet a day, this machine, and then I just have time. We've gone out to the field and, okay, how long is it going to take 3 guys to bolt this up? Sit there and time it. It's 35 minutes to do a bolt up on this. Okay, time 3, 4, 5 of them. Okay, here's your time. It's going to take us 35 minutes every time we're going to do this, or 40 minutes. So I just have like a whole quantity sheet on, I just have it in Excel is how I do it all, but I just have it in Excel, and I know, okay, if we're doing this size bolt up, with 3 guys or 2 guys, it's going to take X amount of time, and then time and time and time. And that's how I'm plugging it in. So when I'm bidding, I'm just taking my quantities, and I got 100 megalugs going in. Well, 35 times 100. There you go. There's your time on that. And same thing in my production rate on your pipe. You just plug it in that way is how I do it. But I've literally gone to the field and timed it, sat there and timed it, and you just average it out and over time. And that's what programs like Heavy Bid do, right? When you're tracking the time it takes to do it, the more times you do it and the more times you track it, the more accurate your average becomes. And then you're averaging out over the year. And you're going to have jobs that you're going to go into and it's going to take you 37 minutes instead of 35, or it's going to take you, you're going to get an extra 50 feet a day or 20 feet a day or whatever. But the whole goal is to track it as long as you can to make it more accurate. And then the more data you have to track it, the more accurate you can get on your time to bid it. you're never going to be spot on, but you're going to
Right.
average out over the year is the goal.
The problem you
Right.
have on these big Mass X jobs, though, with the cut fill, if you don't have trucking involved in it, like you're not bringing import or exported dirt, you're not making shit. I mean, you can't charge shit to move it, and so it's like it's speed when you're at that point. If you got to move 100,000 yards and it's all just it's a balance site, it's going from left side to right side pretty much. He can tell you, everybody's got to be in seventh gear, and
Yep.
you got to have heaping buckets all day, every day, because that's the only way you're gonna make any money.
Yep.
Because the fuel, the overhead, the machines, like everything, it's just so much money, and there's no actual material like
Right.
you guys have. Where you guys have the pipe, you can mark it up a little bit. When you're doing it, yeah, you got a 10 to 20% markup on the cut fill, but he can tell you if you're not hitting your production numbers, dude, you're losing your ass quick. You can get your ass in a hamstring real quick. Whereas pipe, if you didn't do as many feet that day as you needed to that day, you can get out there with them in the trench and speed it up a little bit and make up that 50 feet the next day. And cut fill, if you're falling back a couple thousand yards, it's real hard to make up that
Yep.
couple thousand yards in a day.
The bucket's not going to get bigger.
Yeah,
and the
it's
machine
not-
only
yeah,
moves so fast.
Yeah,
Right.
it's super hard. So that's why you have to be Johnny on the spot with your machines. And like you were talking about, when I worked at the company I used to work for that I was telling you about, those guys used to come out and time us. We'd load a truck.
Yep.
They'd be sitting there with a stopwatch, and they'd go, okay, if it's this crew, we can bid it this fast. If we bid with this crew, it's this fast. And they would purposely bid it by crew. So if this job got awarded, they would have to put that crew on that job or they'd lose money. So they would come hell or high water, that crew is going to that job. And I mean, it would piss everybody off in operations. They're like, well, we can't get that crew freed up. Well, you better get them freed up because they got to go to that job.
Yep.
And that's just how it was. Like, dude, I'm not making this up. There was 10 crews and there was 10 different bids based on each crew. And that group of guys stayed together the whole job. And it just, that's how it was, man. They had their PhDs in this shit.
Yep.
I mean, and that's how you got to get. But that's a company that does $500 million a year in excavation work.
Right.
On
Right.
top of they do utilities and paving just like y'all too, but just their dirt side does $500 million a year.
Right.
So, and that was in 2014. So I don't even know what they're doing now. Probably double that. I mean, it's insane.
Right.
So, but that's how they started out. They started out like Devin's talking about, stopwatches, figuring out how many loads am I getting a day per truck? How many yards am I moving a day? It's little things like that, guys. It's going to be trial and error when you're starting out on these jobs. And you got to think, guys, you're not going to go out and do a 100,000 cubic yard cut fill job your first job. You're not going to. You're going to go do a Dairy Queen or a Starbucks. That's a little 1,000 square foot building pad. You can screw that job up. You might lose a couple grand. It's not going to be that bad. But if you're out there and you're wanting to go straight from out the gate doing 100, 200,000 cubic yard jobs, we're going to read about you in the newspaper. Just letting you know. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but we're going to read. You got to phase it as you go. You got to, and this is the thing. And us three know this. You can sign up for all these estimating programs, like to get bids, and they'll just send you jobs of any size. I get bid requests to do stuff that I am nowhere capable of handling. 8 phases, 2 million square foot building pads. I'm like, bro, why are you even sending this to me? I'm not even going to bid it. I can't even touch the overhead on this, because the company that's going to bid against me has 500 employees. They can cut their prices down and still make money on the job. I can't. I have to rent everything. So you got to scale yourself to it.
What do you guys use for time? Do you have time tracking software and stuff for everything corresponds together? Or how do you typically run that?
I think we use it's an app called Busy.
Yeah.
And we've just got standard cost codes that the guys use. The utility boys have like 20 cost codes, whether it's water, sewer, storm. The earthwork guys have 5 or 6. Clear and grub, cut to fill,
Moisture
import, export, moisture conditioning. So we try to keep it real simple there.
Yep.
And they've just got it. I mentioned that the company I work for, they really try to stay on the cutting edge of technology as much as they can. So they've got everything. They do everything mobile. Everything's on the phone. All the foremen have tablets with Procore on there. So we get a new plan set. We upload it immediately, and we text them all, hey, next time you got Wi-Fi, refresh. So you got the newest set. So
we just put all our guys on tablets like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
It's
I still send them out with with paper plans and stuff, but if they're in their truck and they don't want to open the big setup, they can just pull their tablet out and zoom in on whatever it is we got to talk about. And every one of them have Bluebeam now, so they can mark up the plans and show where everything's at on the job. But
Bluebeam's only on iPads and tablets, isn't it?
No, you can get Bluebeam on your laptop, man. You can download it.
I thought I was trying to get that the other day and I couldn't get it.
I'll send you the link.
I thought I don't know. Maybe
I got you, boo.
Is that on Mac though? Maybe that's why.
You don't have a Windows computer, do you?
No, I run MacBook.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, you had Windows. Fucking Celsius.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Jesus. Drives a Ford Mac. God.
Listen, I went through... I always procrastinated. Everyone told me, buy a MacBook, buy a MacBook. And I remember the first time I went in, I look at it and it's like $2,200 for a MacBook. I'm like, I'll buy the $800 HP. Well, after I bought 3 of those in 3 years, it's like, I think I'll just cave and buy the MacBook.
I got Dells, dude. We run Dells at the office. I got to tell you, I used to make fun of them because when we had them in the military, they were shit. But like, dude, the ones we got, they're fucking badass, dude. Like $800 laptop, dude. I'm running ag tech on that thing. I can do anything I want on that thing. It has nothing but power. And they're not bad. Their price is pretty good too. What do you guys run, Dells?
I think we do primarily Dells. I've Dell and HP. I ended up with a Lenovo laptop. That's a monster. It's small. Yeah. It's a ThinkPad. It's got a touch screen, solid state drive. That thing boots up in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, you gotta have a monster computer to run those estimating softwares.
Yeah, and if you're gonna do the drone stuff, we actually had to end up getting our drone guy a separate, and it's like a gaming PC. This thing has got like all the latest stuff, and he'll put those drone models in there, and all that machine does is process. He's got a separate machine for doing takeoffs.
We literally have a computer that all it does is print plans. Yeah. Because it's just, it takes up so much memory and RAM to run those plotters.
Right.
So we have one old laptop that you want to print plans for a job, you just go over there, you click the job, print it, boom.
Look at this. A couple dumb dirt guys talking about computers.
Right? Who would have thought?
Yeah. I mean,
it's true though.
Going back to the Procore and the plans thing, I mean, within a company, everybody's on the same team, but we've always all had the excuse of, I don't have the latest plans, Yeah. Well, the Procore thing, you do. Just update your tablet. You got them right there.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think in this day and age, we all have to just embrace technology.
Right.
There's no way around it anymore. And I mean, I'm old school when it comes to doing stuff, and I like technology, but I also still like the old school stuff. I still carry around a notebook. Like I have a little black book, take notes.
I think everybody still does that though.
Yeah. I just, if I have the option, and my secretary's always after me, she's like, I put it in your calendar. I'm like, my calendar is you calling me. Right. Because I get the notification on my phone and I'm on the phone or I'm doing something and I ignore it and then I forget about it. And then 25 minutes later, I'm supposed to be somewhere and I forget about it. So I'm
just going to call you at 6 o'clock every time from now on.
I told you.
I got you, brother.
I told you. Or you can just text Caroline and she'll call me. And
I don't have her number, so you have to send that one to me.
She'll put it on my calendar and basically
I'll have my people get with your people.
The first couple of weeks, she's like, I put it on your calendar. I'm like, you're not understanding this. It's like, my calendar is your calendar. And when the notification pops up on your phone, that's your cue to call me and tell me because I'm going to forget otherwise.
I got to admit, Steph kind of keeps me in line. And my old lady, she'll remind me when we have things to do. Like, I forgot we got a baby shower to go to this weekend. So she reminded me. Thank God.
There you go.
Anyways, I just wanted to say thank you for coming on the show, Ryan.
Thanks for having me.
You got anything else you'd like to say, bud, before we get off here?
No, I mean, just thanks for having me, and man, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I can't imagine what it's like to start your own construction company. Like, today I'm working on a substation. So, and we're bidding to like 7 GCs, and these guys are all sending me huge files of specifications and their subcontract agreements and all this stuff. And it's like, I can't believe somebody trusts me to do this. Not that I'm not trustworthy, but just like the trust it takes, like to put in other people to do this work for you. And, you know, it's just, it's amazing, and it takes courage, and
I think it's a lot of stupidity, to be honest. You really just have to, you really have to be a little bit crazy, I think, is really what it is. There's a certain mix of just stupid, crazy, and ambitious to make it all work.
You got to be a hell of a gambler, honestly. It's a gamble. Everything you do in business is a gamble. And you just got to have grit. You know, I say that one all the time, but it's true. I mean, you got to have the grit. You got to have balls. And excuse me, ladies that are listening, no offense, but you do. You just got to go with it. You got to trust your gut. You got to trust your guys. And if you have faith in your guys and you give them all the trust and help in the world and show them that you're going to take care of them, 9 times out of 10, they're going to take care of you. That's how it's supposed to work.
And just remember, when all else fails, more brute force and ignorance usually gets it done.
Well,
it's true though.
I got a few housekeeping things I got to do real quick. I just want to give a shout out to the Certified Wrench podcast. I was on there last weekend. Colton had a really good time. He's going to try and get you on, by the way. So
okay,
yeah, you're going to have to drive out to Springtown and go see him. But
yeah, tell him to call my secretary and
I'll get that set up for you. I want to also give a shout out to Sweat and Grime. I was just on their podcast actually before we recorded this one. Absolute blast with those guys. They're going to be coming to Texas soon, so we're going to actually have them here on the show with us.
Nice.
Those dudes are solid. And give a shout out to Devin over there at those guys. And he's coming down, I think in August, he's going to come on the show. And he's going to talk to us about the paving business. So we can learn a little bit about the paving industry.
I would not want to do paving down here.
No. Yeah.
And that is like roofing, paving, and concrete.
Yeah.
That is like.
Yeah. James Devin. Guys, if you haven't listened to his show yet, make sure you check it out. Sweat and Grime. I wanted to say we broke a record, by the way, for this show.
Really?
We had 1,000 downloads in 7 days for one episode.
Wow. This is your pretty face.
Nice. That's fucking
We're going to do
awesome.
2,000 now. You look like a pedophile with your beard gone.
Thanks. I don't know if I'm putting this one on YouTube.
Start calling you Pedro.
Yeah, my beard will be back hopefully about 2 weeks. So hopefully next episode will be back. By the way, guys, our next episode is going to be in 2 weeks. We're going back to shooting out every 2 weeks. So just bear with us. It's hard as hell already on me and Devin to do 2 a month. So we'd love to do more, but it's hard both of us running our own businesses and all that. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for listening and all the support. And Ryan, is there any way people can get a hold of you if they want to for any kind of estimating questions and stuff? Do you have anything you want to? You got a social media to spread or anything?
I don't know. His inbox is going to blow up in this one.
Probably. We got a lot of listeners.
No, I mean, I don't really have anything to plug. I just appreciate you guys having me on. I guess if you're doing a project in Albuquerque, reach out to Franklin's Earthmoving. They're the best.
For sure.
We'll take care of you.
We are definitely going to have you back on. There's a lot of guys that want to talk about estimating. And we're getting ready to start doing like round tables and stuff. Me and Devin were working on that. We just haven't had a chance to do it yet. But we're probably going to do like a little round table, do it on Zoom. And you could be maybe the guy that shows how estimating works and stuff like that.
Sounds great.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, you got anything else, brother?
No, that's about it. Like, share, subscribe. Shout us out.
If you give us our 5 stars on Spotify, give us some love on the Apple Podcasts. I don't care if it's My Breath Stinks and Devin needs to buy a Windows computer. Also, if you guys could check out our merch shop, it's in the link tree. Also, if you want to be on the show,
you got your OnlyFans in there too?
Yeah, my OnlyFans is on there. I got a little bit of leg action on there, and my mustache. You can see me clean shaven with just the goatee in the stash. Also, guys, if you want, our link tree is in all of our accounts. We are trying to grow our Instagram page. Everything else is growing, but our Instagram page is not for some reason. So we're going to do a 500 person giveaway. So whoever the 500 person is, I'm going to be sending you a hat and a personalized letter from me and Devon. So if you guys could help get the Instagram page up, that would be truly appreciated. So I got nothing else. You got anything?
That's it, man.
All right, guys. Stay classy, and we'll see y'all next time.